Today, we are going to discuss comprehension. Comprehension is the ability to make sense of what we read. It depends on word recognition skills, fluency skills, vocabulary, wordly knowledge, and language ability. So it's really all the reading skills wrapped up in one to help us understand what we read. There are many factors that affect comprehension. So the first one is word reading skills, which takes into consideration the ability to actually decode words and understand what you're reading. The second is vocabulary knowledge. Do you understand the words that are in the text? The third is background knowledge. Do you have the background knowledge in order to understand what the text is talking about? Number four is awareness of sentence, paragraph, and text structure. Number five is frequent monitoring of comprehension. And then number six is the use of strategies when appropriate. So, using those comprehension strategies that you learn throughout your reading instruction. When we teach comprehension, we want to focus on a few different things. So, the first is monitoring. We want each student to be able to monitor their own comprehension while they are reading the text. The second is cooperation. So, students should be able to work together in pairs or small groups while learning reading strategies. They could also use visual organizers. So, they may use graphic representations of what they're reading. It might be a story map or graphic organizer. They also need to be able to answer questions and receive immediate feedback as well as be able to question themselves. So ask the questions to help them monitor their understanding. They need to be able to use text structure to help recall content that they've read throughout a text. And they also need to be able to summarize what they have been reading. Now that we've talked a little bit about comprehension instruction, I'd like you to think about a well known story, something like The Three Little Pigs, Jack and Jill, Humpty Dumpty, and I'd like you to create a graphic organizer that your students could use to monitor their comprehension while reading. When finished, you can share your creation with your table. Depending on what grade you teach, you may base your graphic organizer on those students. So if you're teaching preschool or kindergarten, it might be a graphic organizer that the class uses together. If you're teaching a higher grade, it might be an individual or small group graphic organizer. There are many characteristics of a good reader and things that they do before they read, during their reading, and then also after their reading. So, a good reader before they read, they should set a goal. They can preview the text, so look through it, skim it a little bit, and they can also make predictions. During the reading, they want to read sequentially. They want to reread as needed. They can take notes, highlight main ideas. They also want to go back to those predictions that they made before reading to see or change any of their predictions. They can monitor their own comprehension, use prior knowledge to make inferences, summarize what they're reading, and also respond to texts. And then after they read, a good reader will reread specific pieces of the text, summarize a whole text, and also reflect on what they have read. Comprehension instruction should begin when a student begins interacting with texts and continue through high school. Explicit teaching of comprehension strategies should accompany literacy experiences. So, this should be recognizing story structure, predicting, monitoring comprehension, connecting the text to world knowledge, asking and answering questions, constructing mental images, and then summarizing and retelling. Comprehension and multilingual learners can go very easily together. So, reading comprehension is tied to oral English proficiency. So, the better a student is in their oral skills, the better their comprehension will be. When teaching comprehension, it's important to focus on language production and vocabulary while also working on comprehension at the same time. because if they don't understand the words that they're reading, then they won't be able to comprehend what the text is saying. For multilingual learners, instruction should be explicit and direct. They should engage students in monitoring their use of comprehension strategies. And they should also emphasize the use of strategies in their native language. So if they understand comprehension strategies in their own native language, those strategies should be used when they are trying to comprehend English as well. Comprehension instruction and assessment should begin when students begin interacting with text and continue through high school. When assessing comprehension, it's important to combine traditional assessments with informal assessments. This is due to the fact that comprehension assessments struggle to actually assess comprehension skills. A lot of the time, they're assessing vocabulary or basic reading skills. The use of retelling, student think alouds, and other strategies can be useful when trying to get the whole picture of a student's comprehension. So we can take data by having students fill in blanks using a word bank. Students can choose the best fit word out of 3 words when looking at a sentence. They can make oral or written responses. We can do multiple choice questions. They can retell a story, or they can participate in a think aloud. At your next grade level meeting, I'd like for you to discuss the most effective comprehension strategies you use in your classrooms. You can create a list of the strategies that you all want to try, and then if you end up trying them, I'd like for you to monitor your students' comprehension while introducing the strategy. Before leaving today, if you could please fill out the following exit ticket, that would be fantastic. Thank you for your participation.